Hello, everybody. It's Mary Ellen Stites, and I'm here in the Creativity Nest. My business is Create With Me, and I'm here for Teach Me Tuesday. So I come to you every Tuesday at 2 p.m. on my Facebook page, and then you can also view this up on YouTube. So if you're on YouTube, please subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. So I am going to share with you two new to me stamp sets. One I haven't used, and then one is a new online exclusive that I believe you can order starting today. So I wanted to use that. But really, my main teaching moment today is to share or demystify or debunk watercoloring. And I mean in a super, super easy way that anyone could do. It's super easy, but it makes a beautiful background. So I'm going to take you down to my desk. And first, I want to share with you the two stamp sets that I'm going to use. We're really lucky in March that we get to celebrate all kinds of holidays, right? We've got St. Patrick's Day, then we've got the first day of spring, and then we have Easter here in the month of March, which is the very, very last day, I believe. So I wanted to do something with these beautiful Easter lilies. You know, whether you're an Easter bunny person or a traditional cross and Easter lily person, I just love this stamp set called Easter lilies, and the dies are beautiful. I'm only going to show you the dies that cut out the images here, but there are some kind of assembly dies. So if you're really interested, maybe that will be something for next week. Then I want to share with you this stamp set, and this might be something that you've not seen or you don't know where to find it. So textured timber is a kind of a background stamp set, or kind of, I guess it's mostly background. Beautiful texture that you can add to your cards. This is an online exclusive, so this can only be found online in my store. And you can, starting today, March the 5th, 2024, you can purchase textured timber. So there's a lot of new online exclusives that came out. They're beautiful, and this is one that really drew my eye. So go take a look for it. To go take a look at it. So let's kind of demystify watercoloring. So I'm going to do a really simple background, and I highly recommend and love the Fluid 100 watercolor paper that Stampin' Up carries. I'm just going to pull out a piece that I've pre-cut at, this paper is 5 by 7, I believe. Yep, 5 by 7. And so I just cut the paper at 5 and 3 and 7/8, just like a regular layer. So the biggest thing, I'm going to tell you some easy supplies. I always have paper towels handy. Okay, when I'm doing any kind of watercoloring, I want paper towels handy. I am using a water painter today, and I'm using the boldest brush tip right here. This is one of our water painters. They come in sets of 3. You get a medium tip, and you also can get a fine tip. Okay, but we're going to use the big wide brush today. And then you'll need some ink. I'm using Petal Pink for mine, and you can either use the ink pad or you can bring in some of the ink refill, and this is just the same Petal Pink. So either one of those are acceptable for this idea that I'm going to show you. So just to give you, I want to give you many ways. Hi, Carol. I'm glad you're tuning in. I want to give you a lot of different ways on how to do the watercoloring using our ink pad. So one is just picking up color from the ink pad. And I've seen people open their pad and they pick it up from their the actual foam pad. I don't really recommend that. I mean, you're not only are you kind of adding water, but you're pulling ink out. So what I like to do is I just like to, anyone can do this. I'm not strong at all, but you can kind of just consider it stamping exercise. You're going to do a little bit of stamping exercise by just using your palms to put some color into the pad. So just like this, you're going to just squeeze, 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 and that will add color to your pad. The other thing you can do is you can use your re-inker and just add a couple drops right to your inside of your pad, perfectly safe. Okay, so my first thing I'm going to say is that I see people not doing is, first you want to prime. I'm going to prime my water painter, and it's okay if I get water in there because I want it super watery. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to wet my paper, okay? So always wet your watercolor paper. You're going to be happy because the ink will flow. Make sure you're getting plenty of water on there. You can see I've got lots and lots of water. Okay, so now my paper is wet where I want it, right down the middle. And then I can pick up some of that ink. And I'm going to start out, I start out really, really light. So you're going to see the color go on super, super light. I like to build color because you know that you cannot take color away usually, not especially not with the watercoloring. So now I'm just using ink from the from the lid, just like this. And I'm just going right up the middle and adding color. Now, if I want to build color, I can add some of that re-inker. I want to make sure it's good and juicy. So now see how that's added color. Hi, Tanya. So now I've added a little color and I'm just building. I'm building my color. I just start out light. And because my paper is wet, my ink flows beautifully. Have you ever tried to do like ink or any watercoloring onto dry paper? It's just streaky. And actually, I've got one here. You can kind of see what it looks like. You'll get a lot of this kind of streakiness. Okay, that means my paper was too dry, and I kind of wanted to share with you what that was like. So just building color, but making sure your paper starts out good and wet. Now that's super wet. So I've got one that I did in advance. That's all there is to it. You could do this in an ombre look. You could add color on top of color, but try it. I want you to try it. It's super, super fun. So here's one I did before. You can see it's very similar, but this one's dry. This one's still good and wet because I'm going to stamp on this. So let me move this aside, and I'm going to bring in the from the timbers, textured timber. I'm going to bring in this stamp set right here, or this stamp right here. Okay, it's just going to add a little bit of texture. And I am going to bring in the pecan pie. And I'm just going to stamp that image right on my watercoloring. I'm just going to double it up here, and I'm just making a pattern right down the middle of my paper. Okay, it's super pretty. It's just a little background. It's a different idea than like splattering. Let's say, you know, splattering. Sometimes that adds a little bit of color. And so I just did it with this fun texture. Isn't that fun? Now I'm going to take some Fairy Vanilla and I'm going to do some stamping with my actual Easter lilies. And I'm going to show you a fun technique on that too. So let's start with the main Easter lily flower. Okay, and I'm stamping on Very Vanilla in Crumb Cake. Okay, and then I'm going to stamp kind of a half open bud. And then I'm going to stamp just the buds. And then I'm going to stamp the leaves. Okay, so I've got these 4 images just like that, super easy, all ready to cut out. Hi Beth, I'm glad you're joining. So then I'm going to bring in another way to add color is just using your pad and a blending brush. And in this case, I want one of the small brushes because I'm going to just add a little bit of color to the center of my Easter lily. So I'm using Bubble Bath. And I'm just brushing on the little bubble bath into the center. This one I'm just going to kind of brush it on. I'm going to do the same thing with my buds. I'm going to just lightly, I'm cutting this out, so it's okay if I go outside the line a little bit. I'm going to add the rest of the color here, kind of blending out. So super easy, just add some really light color. Hi Louise, I'm glad you're tuning in. So we're doing some coloring techniques, especially watercoloring. And then I want to color the greenery. And then here's another idea. Okay, now I'm going to use an ink pad and I'm going to use a blender pen. So all of these tools that maybe you haven't really used a lot, bring them out and use them because they're really, really fun. So now the same thing, I've got a little bit of ink just like I did with my petal pink. And I'm going to use the tip of my blender pen. Now this is a glycerin based ink. So it's really fun to just pick up color. And what it does differently than you might say, well, why don't you just use your markers, your Stampin' Right markers? Well, the reason I like to use this is because it gives me a little bit lighter, a little more subtle coloring than using my marker. My marker is really saturated ink, And sometimes I just don't want that. I just want a little bit of color, super light. I don't even hit everything. I just leave some spots just like that. So I cut those out in advance. I use the dies, and let me pull those in for you. So I've got the flower, I've got the little half bud, I've got the little buds, and then I've got the greenery. Okay, just like that. So now we're going to build our card. So I am going to lay my base down just like that. And then I am going to kind of start from the bottom, and I'm going to build. I know that this is going to cover everything. I'm going to kind of build up my card just like this. I'm going to bring in my card base so that I can see. I just did a thick, very vanilla card base. So it's super tone on tone. This is a very light. I want it to be super subtle. And I'm going to start with my buds up here, my other bud kind of open, my greenery here, and then I can put the flowers just like that. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere that to my card. I'm going to just use liquid adhesive. Just like that. I'm going to give it a minute. Just building these flowers. It's so pretty, so soft. And this background really does this justice. I really like it. Let me know what you think. I mean, I don't know if I'm in La La Land or what, but I just think it's super, super pretty. I'm hoping my flower will cover everything. Yep, it does. And then I think on this flower, I'm going to take my dimensionals. I know I always have some here, so let me just hunt and peck a minute. Okay, I'm going to make that flower pop up. Let me close this. Just like this. Okay, I just want to make sure I'm covering my different parts. Whoops, I missed it just a little. Luckily, I didn't put it down too hard. There we go. Okay, just like that. Super, super pretty. So now I'm going to go ahead and adhere that. I think this one's just about how it is. I'm going to see if I can use my seal on this. It's watercolor paper. No, I didn't think so. Watercolor paper and Stampin' Seal Plus is not, they're not always friends. They want to just, it just wants to tear the paper. So let's use a little liquid adhesive. Then I'm going to finish this off. I'm going to finish this card with the greeting that says he is risen. But I just realized that I did not bring any paper or stamp. So I'm going to just improvise, and I'm going to bring in this piece that I stamped on, and I'm going to bring in the, I think I want to do the pecan pie. So this part here is all impromptu. I'm going to stamp he is risen. And I'm going to use my snips since I don't have my cutter over here. Except this is in my way, this silly thing. Oh, sorry. Okay. I need to probably take that off. All right, so I'm going to do a rough cut on that, and then I'm going to do I'm just going to cut around my letters. I feel like if I'm using my scissors, if I'm cutting around my letters, then I don't have to be so precise. But if I was going to try to make this like a straight block, I would be super worried that it was going to be not so straight. So by doing it like this, I can even round this end off. Oh, yeah, nice. Okay, I'm going to bring in my dimensionals here. I've got a nice little edge of dimensionals. Tell me if you like to watercolor. Do you like to watercolor? That's kind of what I want to know today. Is watercoloring your thing? I've got just a little bit there. I really love it. Oh yeah, this is pretty to me. And there's just a really subtle Easter card celebrating the Lord's Rising. And I think I'm going to show this card on my Facebook page. I feel like I want to add a few gems, and I don't have any gems here. As I look at this, I think the only ones I have are super bright, and I want to keep this subtle. So, and I also, you see this little, I mean, let's be honest, I have a little splop there, and I just want to cover it. So I think a few gems, but so, so pretty. So I really, really love to use this technique for a fun background, just like this. Stamp it in a texture. You can use anything. Actually, there's a couple of stamp sets that are texture right now in the online exclusive. So take a look. The link is in the video description, and share on my Facebook page. I've got a Create With Me community of stampers, and just share your watercoloring projects with us. So you guys have a great day. I thank you so much for visiting, and go get that watercolor paper out and do some watercoloring. It does a body good, I promise you. Bye, everybody.